talk about Wembley weather, and this is it. Liverpool's 21st appearance in this famous old stadium in 15 seasons. They've won the FA Cup 3 times. And of course the first FA Cup final appearance of Wimbledon. Teams being led out by Adrian Tipton of the FA. Bobby Gould on the right. Applauding the Wimbledon and the Liverpool fans. Big Dave Besant, the Wimbledon goalkeeper, the first goalkeeper ever to captain an FA Cup final side. John Fashanu, Vinnie Jones is there, the substitute Laurie Cunningham. It's a glorious afternoon for a side that just 11 years ago wasn't even in the Football League. And as recently as 1983, Wimbledon were playing in the 4th division. It really is storybook stuff, and now facing a side who regard Wimbledon, or rather Wembley, as their second home. Very cheery character, Dave Besant, who lives, well, a Dave Besant goal kick from the stadium, and can see the stadium, he says, from his bedroom window. But I wonder if in his professional career he ever thought actually he'd be playing here in a cup final. Well, that day has dawned, bright and clear. Liverpool in that famous red strip of theirs, the hottest favourites in years, at 4-1 on. There hasn't been a hotter favourite since Leeds played Sunderland back here in 1973. Then Sunderland upset the odds and won. Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales. There's Mr. Bert Minichip, the chairman of the Football Association, on the right. But one figure missing today, Ted Croker, the General Secretary of the FA, who is unwell in hospital at the moment. He retires later this year. It's sad that Ted misses his last final in office, but we wish him a really speedy recovery. And now the national anthem. First to be presented, Liverpool, today seeking to become the first club ever to do the double of League and Cup twice. A man always with a word and a joke, the Liverpool goalkeeper Bruce Grobbelaar and Steve Nicol. Gary Ablett in his first full season, finding a place at Wembley, only 22 years old, the left back. Craig Johnston, one of the substitutes. The man with the headband, of course, with 6 stitches, which he's explaining to Her Royal Highness. They've both got them. Gary Gillespie and Nigel Spackman had a terrible clash of heads playing against Luton. And he's a really cheery character, Nigel Spackman, the former Bournemouth and Chelsea player. And everything's so relaxed. Little Ray Houghton, who's added a certain dimension to Liverpool's midfield since he arrived from Oxford United. Steve McMahon, who might well have a lot to say for England in the European Championships in West Germany this summer. John Aldridge, who had the unenviable task of taking over from Ian Rush, but has done it magnificently. John Barnes. Rare to see a cup final side as relaxed as this. Jan Molby and Peter Beardsley, the big Dane, having a word here now. Jan Molby with Her Royal Highness. And of course, the one and only Kenny Dalglish. What a job he's done. And Merseyside are proud of him. A fabulous achievement. Now the turn of Wimbledon. Big Dave Besant, biggest man on the field at 6'4". Smashing moment for them, really, and really, Ian St John, every small club in the land must be saying, well, they did it, maybe we could do it as well, but 11 years ago they weren't even in the league.
Well, why not? I mean, it is a fairy tale story, and I'm sure Dave sitting beside us here must be looking at it and thinking, you know, it's marvellous for all these young lads that he's seen grow up in the Wimbledon side.
Yeah, Dave Bassett, former manager of Wimbledon, your thoughts now as you look at these pictures?
Well, they're unbelievable, really. It must be marvellous for the players, because none of us 2 years ago would have ever thought we could get to Wembley, and so it's tremendous. I feel for Dave Besant and Alan Court, because really they were 4th division players and they've come through everything. They look reasonably relaxed as well.
That's the thing about that, your ex-team, they're always very confident, aren't they? Look at Cocky Bunch.
That's right. They had a few inexperiences when we was in the 2nd division, when we went to places like Manchester City and froze, and even last year in the quarter-final we froze. But I think they learnt a lot from that when they won at Liverpool last year and Manchester United, and they've had some good results this year. So I think they'll enjoy today.
The referee today is Brian Hill from Kettering, 40 years old, who will be one of the linesmen in the European Championships in West Germany. In a delightful, delicate shade of pink. And herself looking very relaxed. I don't think Her Royal Highness is a great football fan, but let's hope there's a treat in store for us, for her, and for all of you watching this afternoon. Right, let's take the first check on the teams. Let's start with Liverpool with the inimitable Bruce Grobbelaar in goal. In the back four, Gary Gillespie, as we've seen, recovered from the crack on the head against Luton in midweek. 6 stitches in the wound. They may well need his heading ability against the likes of Fashanu and Cork. Similarly, Nigel Spackman has recovered from that same clash of heads, also with 6 stitches. And in that midfield area, the role of Steve McMahon against Vinnie Jones, I suppose, will be crucial too. And then up front, Peter Beardsley and John Aldridge, 47 goals between them, but both playing in their first FA Cup final. Well, Wimbledon, the big figure of Dave Besant, the skipper, in goal. And then Clive Goodyear at right back, an amazing recovery he's made from a hairline fracture of a leg against Spurs in March, now back to face John Barnes. And if indeed they play 4-2-4, Sanchez and Vinnie Jones will be there. They'll be the men asked to do a lot of work and running. And a key figure up front could also be one of the smallest, 5'6", Dennis Wise. I've got a hunch they might well play him down the right-hand side to get after Gary Ablett and to help out holding John Barnes, with Alan Cork playing away on the left. But we shall see. Terry Gibson, of course, passed a fitness test this morning. Big John Fashanu up there as well. Such a character, Fashanu, and a frightening fella for defensive, really, and a good record this season with 21 goals. Started at Norwich, had a loan spell at Crystal Palace where he played only 1 game. Dave Bassett bought him from Millwall for about 120,000 quid, I think it was. And, well, he's proved a fantastic investment. Steve Nicol, one of 3 survivors only of the Liverpool side that won the double here 2 years ago. Bruce Grobbelaar and Alan Hansen are the others. I don't know if we can pan down a little bit, but they say he wears the biggest boots of all, size 12. A mine of pretty useless information this afternoon here.
No, it has got huge plates of meat. You're right enough.
Well, the referee just about to toss up. Brian Hill of Kettering, tossing up actually with a 1961 old penny, which he says he used when he refereed his first match back in 1965. He's got a reputation of being a referee who does like the game to move around a bit. George Tyson and Mike Pearce are his two linesmen this afternoon.
I think it's ironic, Brian, that Brian Hill's first game was refereeing Wimbledon at Brentford.
Is that so?
When we first came in the league. Unfortunately, I was playing and we lost 4-1. I hope that's not an omen.
Let's see.
He wasn't too bad last week at Huddersfield for Sheffield United.
You had a good win there, of course. You've got to play off tomorrow, haven't you, at Bristol City for Sheffield United. Well, here's Brian Hill. So Liverpool then will get this 107th final underway. And they will be attacking the goal to our right.
See, Dennis Wise is lined up on the right, as you said, Brian.
Indeed, Wise is up there. He'll have a go at Gary Ablett, where Wimbledon feel they might find a way through. And he'll certainly be helping out Clive Goodyear to hold John Barnes. And Liverpool get us underway, attacking the goal to our right. Andy Thorne looking around to make sure Dave Besant was there, but he noticed that Aldridge was too close. It's not a time for mistakes early on. They need time just to settle a little bit. Beardsley, Nicol, Houghton. This time it's a Wimbledon throw. They've been training all week, Wimbledon. They got in touch with the Wembley groundsman, found out the exact dimensions of the Wembley pitch, and have been playing to that because it is a very big pitch. So all their training has been geared along that. A jump and a winner in the air for John Fashanu, but Steve Nicol giving an early touch there to Bruce Grobbelaar. This is his 10th Wembley appearance since the first in 1982. Barnes versus Goodyear, and you notice there that Barnes was sandwiched there by Goodyear and Wise, as we thought he might be. The whole of training yesterday was devised with a lot of work centering on little Wise. In goes Young. There's Wise again. Oh, cheekily getting it one side of Barnes, playing it the other, trying to play the long ball through towards Fashanu, but Hansen, it's Besant's ball. Hasn't missed a game for Wimbledon in 7 years. An absolutely remarkable record by this big goalkeeper. There's the first of his long kicks, aimed not towards Fashanu, but towards little Terry Gibson. Ablett. Given away. Gibson finding Fashanu. His shot hits straight at Grobbelaar. Ian St John.
Well, Bruce was a bit annoyed at Gary Ablett. The youngster got caught there with John Fashanu, and I suppose he was wanting just to settle down a little bit, Ablett, there, and get a feel of the ball, but Wimbledon were on to him like a flash, and you know, you just can't afford to do that, particularly at this stage in the game when it's all getting a little bit frenetic.
It's a throw to Wimbledon. They've won only one of their last 11 games, but they've drawn 6 of them. I think maybe with no hope of getting up into obviously a high place in the table, although they finished 7th. I think they were very much, their minds were on Wembley, and maybe their form suffered a little bit. Particularly Fashanu's, in fact, scored only once in the last 11 games. And I think there was just that little fear amongst the Wimbledon camp that maybe, you know, if you do lose that touch because you are not giving it your best shot, it's very hard to get it back on the day when you really want it. It's little Terry Phelan. 10 months ago, he was with a 4th division club, Swansea City. It's been a big rise for him. Another long kick. We're going to see plenty of those this afternoon as Beardsley gets it back. And the nice thing about it all, it's a final really, I think, where even if you're uncommitted sitting at home, you can take sides, because if you favour class and style and fantastic technique, then of course Liverpool's your side. And if you fancy underdogs who battle away, most times with a smile on their face, well, then Wimbledon's your side. Alan Hansen as cool as ever. Over the years, there have not been many better servants of a football club than he. Well, let's see what Vinnie Jones can do with this long, long throw. He'll aim towards Eric Young, who's gone up there. Barnes gets it away, and Liverpool not into their stride yet. Jones getting it in again. That time it was Spackman. Goodyear. Well, he took a little too long, and Aldridge robbed him. Spackman playing it for Beardsley. Liverpool on the break now, with 3 up on this side, including Aldridge, including Nicol, who's come up fast from the back as well. Still with Beardsley, but the shot charged down by Vinnie Jones. It comes to Barnes. It's a good cross by him. And whether Aldridge got the touch or whether it was Vinnie Jones, the ball has gone behind. It's a goal kick. For a moment, they looked a real serious threat on the Liverpool goal. It came off a Liverpool player. Goal kick, quite right. Dave Bassett, former Wimbledon manager, any early thoughts about the way your old side are playing?
Well, they've settled down quite well, actually. And they're obviously looking to get Fashanu in the channels as much as possible.
Well, it was Fashanu with the touch there. Laurie Sanchez. Sanchez again. Came off Steve Nicol. Alan Cork trying to get in there. It comes to Dennis Wise. That's a foul, that's a free kick. A foul by McMahon, and the ball came back and splattered McMahon in the face. And he's going to need some treatment from Roy Evans. It was a very unfortunate ricochet for Liverpool, but it clearly was a free kick, as little Dennis Wise is challenged unfairly there. Down he goes. And let's see what Wimbledon can come up with here, with about 6 minutes of the game gone. McMahon in trouble, and who knows, maybe Liverpool could be.
I think the free kicks and long throws and corners are going to be important today, how Liverpool defend them against Wimbledon, Brian.
Well, McMahon back in the fray. Let's see. Wise is behind it, Sanchez is behind it, Vinnie Jones is behind it, Fashanu is making some movement in the wall. Important early break this, it's Wise with the shot. They've settled really well.
I thought the first 20 minutes might be the difficult period for them, but as you say, Brian, they seem to be reasonably well relaxed.
I think really in a way it's a tribute to Dave Bassett. The Bobby Gould was saying that when he arrived there in the summer, that was a bad kick, but he found an inner spirit among the players which he'd never experienced before. It really is an all for one and one for all situation. Fabulous team spirit and a side that never knows when it's beaten. Well, a nice little touch there. Fashanu playing it on to Gibson, who's offside. Seven and a half minutes gone. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 0. If you just joined us on this beautiful afternoon here, almost from high summer at Wembley. Temperature into the 80s. Thorne. Cork. Gibson always likely to be out-jumped by Gillespie. Bobby Gould on the bench, you can just see leaning forward there, alongside him Don Howe. Developing into a very good combination in terms of management at Wimbledon. And it's the 5th FA Cup final for Don Howe, the other 4, of course, when he was involved with Arsenal. free kick to Liverpool. Steve Nicol with it. Thorne shoving in on the back of Aldridge, and the referee at the perfect angle to see it. Free kick to Liverpool. McMahon. Oh, that was a nasty challenge by Vinnie Jones, and the first free kick given against him, he really set about McMahon there, and right under the eyes of the referee, and he will not want to be giving too many free kicks like that away. Always liked to do that, of course, Ian St John.
Well, that's correct, and I mean, everybody's sitting here waiting for it, and that's the first opportunity that he's had to challenge for a ball that McMahon had, and he just flew in there. He was always going to be late, but that might spark McMahon off, and maybe get the confrontation that we didn't want.
Gillespie. Nicol. Houghton trying to pick it up. Oh, a little dummy by Beardsley, wasn't bought though by Andy Thorne. Quick word from you, Dave Bassett, about that Vinnie Jones tackle.
Well, I thought he went in quick. I didn't think it was quite as late as Ian thought, to be quite honest.
Fashanu. There's the man's power, but the tenacity of Steve Nicol, providing Wimbledon with their first corner. And for that, we get big Eric Young up from the back. And Andy Thorne as well. The two central defenders in there, Fashanu and Sanchez, another 6-footer in there. Plenty of height now for Wimbledon as Wise plays it in, and he'll get another chance.
In both the games up at Anfield, Wimbledon have scored from corners against Liverpool, and Eric Young, I think, scored in the game just before the end of the season.
This season it was a 1-1 at Plough Lane, and Liverpool won 2-1 at Anfield. They've always been close between these two clubs. Alan Cork trying to get in, and very nearly did so. Eric Young playing it back for Vinnie Jones. Goal kick.
Yeah, Liverpool don't handle corner kicks too well. David, you're quite right about that, and I think that's the worrying factor, giving away corner kicks and free kicks against this team, who actually work very hard at it, don't they? The set plays are very good. That's
right. I mean, you can see from the long throws that Eric Young is coming up. They're going to sort of throw in as many high balls on those situations as much as possible.
Grobbelaar's free kick. Good header by Goodyear. Ablett letting it go. A throw to Liverpool. Just past the 10-minute mark. Still 0-0. John Barnes. Handsome to Gillespie. Gillespie, who missed the final 2 years ago with a stomach upset on the day of the game. And must, after that awful crash with Smackburn, have wondered whether it was going to be an unlucky one again this year. But he's there. And so too is Ray Houghton. Beardsley coming off his man nicely. Houghton continued the run. It wasn't picked up, but Besant saved it well. But Wimbledon caught a little bit in defence there by the quick thinking of Beardsley and Houghton.
But good play, wasn't it? Nice little ball by Peter Beardsley, and Ray Houghton with the outside of his foot trying to bend it away from Big Besant.
Gillespie up well to stem the tide again. Young. And now McMahon. Again, quickening that pace a little bit. Finding Nicol. Cork in the way of the pass. Wimbledon's ball off Steve Nicol.
In actual fact, Ray Houghton always seems to have quite a good game against Wimbledon. When he was at Oxford, Brian, he used to pick up the ball and run and cause a few problems.
Nicol beating Fashanu that time. Spackman. Phelan planting it forward again. Gillespie's there. Going to be a lot of work for those heads in defence.
Well, he's headed the ball a couple of times, but he's never headed it with his forehand as yet. He's bobbed two headers straight up in the air, off the top of his head. I think instinctively you pull away from it if you've got cuts, and I mean his stitches are not out yet.
Wise got his cross in towards Cork. He wins balls in the air, Alan Cork, that you sometimes think would be beyond him, and Ablett was right beside him, but the 29-year-old got up well again. I think Liverpool have this fear about Cork and Fashanu in the air, as we were saying a bit earlier. When it comes, up goes Cork, a well-timed jump, but wide of Grobbelaar's goal. Houghton.
It's interesting, Dennis Wise is playing a lot deeper today.
Now Houghton, but Thorne is there. I think that may be, Dave, to offset the threat of John Barnes, do you think?
That's correct, yes, yeah. It's just it may restrict him getting forward at the right times as well, though, from Wimbledon's point of view.
Andy Thorne with the header for Wimbledon. There's Vinnie Jones, and McMahon was after him, but Jones delivered just before McMahon arrived. That will be a confrontation we have to watch very closely, I think, this afternoon. Now Barnes. Here's McMahon in a bit of space, and I don't think Jones will get to him this time. McMahon's on his way, but the shot is well wide. Sure, the temptation is to be out and about on such a glorious day, but if you've now come in and are going to join us, I think we're going to have quite a cup final here with a quarter of an hour gone. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 0. Free kick to Liverpool. Gillespie with the kick. Wise versus Ablett. And it's Gary Ablett. Here's John Barnes. No nonsense about that. It'll be a Liverpool throw.
Looks like Liverpool trying to get Ablett isolated on their free kicks with Dennis Wise.
Beardsley. There'll be a throw to Wimbledon. Clive Goodyear going across. Lad who was with Luton and with Plymouth. Had that hairline fracture of the leg in March. It's quite remarkable that he's playing this afternoon. But I noticed that one of the Wimbledon substitutes is John Scales, who is also a fullback. Whether they are just worried about whether Clive Goodyear is totally fit, I don't know. Well, in the meantime, look, here's the goalkeeper. What, 30 yards outside his penalty area with the free kick. Up towards Fashanu, wins it in the air. Gibson backing in on his man. Gibson shot. But there was an infringement there as Gibson was backing in on Gillespie. But also very noticeable how Fashanu won that ball in the air really quite comfortably.
Well, he's an excellent leaper, Brian. That's one of his strengths, John. If he's on good form, he can be very strong in the air.
Grobbelaar's long kick. Young stumbled for a moment. Beardsley. His shot taken with waspish power, but it was way off the target. Get the feeling, Ian, that Liverpool just can't at the moment quite get into their stride.
Well, they haven't got out of first gear, to tell you the truth. It's been the quietest start to a Liverpool match that I've seen all season. They don't appear to have got it together. There's a lack of urgency about them. Whether, they just say, well, we'll settle in, for 20 minutes and see how the game goes, and then we'll try and step up a bit. That would appear to be the case.
Fashanu winning in the air. Wise planting it on. Nicol getting it back.
Just interesting, Ian. It looked like in the early seconds that they were going to try and play out from the back, and then Ablett made that error, and perhaps that's cost them a bit of confidence.
Yes, could be right.
Now Barnes taking on Goodyear. He's got Beardsley waiting in the middle, and Eric Young was there as well for Wimbledon. And they get their first corner now. Gillespie up from the back. Played back here for McMahon. Barnes. Should be Bessant's, and it is. Good catch. And a throw that was just a little too firm for Phelan. Nicol. And into that hole, Nichol's played the ball to Beardsley, but Sanchez did a good covering job there with his fullback well forward and out of that position. Boris Sanchez played so much of his early days at Reading. McMahon to Barnes. Barnes now to Nicol. Beardsley. They're off the target again. Great stage for all these players, really. The match being beamed right around the world to so many countries live. Gibson. Good control there by Gillespie. Phelan's challenge on Houghton was a rash one, a free kick. No foul, referee play on. Aldridge, Beardsley. Just deflected away, little Wise will get there first. But here's Nigel Spackman, and now for John Barnes. Faced by Goodyear. No, it's over.
I would think if Liverpool could get the ball to Barnes a little bit more often and let him attack the fullback, they may get some joy out of it. I don't know what you think, Dave. I see that as an area that Liverpool could cause some damage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Wimbledon and Dom must be concerned because he's obviously restricting Dennis Wise's job there. I think sometimes when Barnes comes into that left half, inside left spot, he causes more problems than when he's actually out on the wing, where he starts running at the centre of the defence.
There's Ablett. Wise is getting up there now and really getting stuck in, unfairly so, because he's conceded the free kick. No, it's given Wimbledon's way. Must have been a foul on little Dennis Wise. Up comes Eric Young. 2, 4, 6 blue shirts now in that Liverpool penalty area. Gibson almost got there first. Young almost got in there. Sanchez tried the shot, the whistle had gone.
Now, Steve McMahon is that busy arguing with Vinnie Jones there. He didn't even see the ball getting played into the box. And, you know, Liverpool are certainly losing the concentration there.
Well, it was interesting, Ian. Alan Court was wandering around outside just watching and made a very late move. He's very, very good at that type of thing, and people are not marking him.
This time it's a Liverpool free kick. It'll be Ray Houghton. Aldridge made a little run, but it's Beardsley the man, played on there. It was Sanchez who got a header in, Vinnie Jones who played it back, Andy Thorne who plays it forward. Now there's a bit of movement and a bit of passing first time. McMahon finding Barnes. McMahon, Spackman. There's Ablett. Poor cross. Such a contrast between these two clubs with their record. Here we are, halfway through the first half. Here we are, the Liverpool in their 8th FA Cup final, Wimbledon in their first. Meantime, Liverpool 10 European finals, 8 League Cup finals, 14 Charity Shields, 6 League Cups. Wimbledon's only real Wembley experience 25 years ago when they won the FA Amateur Cup against Sutton United 4-2. Mind you, I don't know whether you remember, David, they had a big centre-forward called Eddie Reynolds. I saw the game, remember, he scored all 4 goals with his head. You've got a big centre-forward up there today, John Fashanu.
He'll be happy with 4.
Aldridge winning it. Oh, Goodyear has made a mistake, and he was saved by Besant. Well, his heart would have been a flutter there just for a moment. It was a clumsy-ish back pass. Fashanu winning it again. Cork in there too.
It seems that Liverpool have decided on Besant's long kicks to defend deep, which is not a bad idea.
Yes, but Wimbledon are getting all the touches, aren't they? Fashanu's getting all the first touches there.
Although it seems that 1 or 2 are going straight through to Bruce. And the other interesting fact, when Besant's taking goal kicks, Fashanu seems to be coming deeper in the centre circle. It looks like they're trying to win as much ball there.
Well, it's Wimbledon's throw. Phelan finding Andy Thorne, an England under-21 player. Back to Dave Besant. Phelan, Jones. Beardsley. That's more like Beardsley. Gone past both Thorne and Phelan, but now he's faced by the pair of them again. But the ball might come to Houghton. And is it there? No, it's not. Incredible. Vinnie Jones puts it away. It looked as though Aldridge must score. It looked as though Barnes might be there to finish it off. And somehow or other, Wimbledon survived.
A marvellous run by Ray Houghton in the first place to cut it back. Aldridge got that. I thought John Barnes was going to dive and head it, but the goalkeeper got it first. Tremendous pressure now by Liverpool.
It's the first genuine piece of Liverpool class that we've seen. It very nearly produced a goal. Houghton will take this corner. Gillespie's making a run towards the near post, but it was Sanchez who got it away as far as McMahon. That's a Wimbledon ball. Liverpool beat Stoke, Aston Villa, Everton, Manchester City and Forest getting here and conceded only 1 goal in that cup run. That was against Forest in the semi-finals. Wimbledon beating West Brom, Mansfield, Newcastle, Watford and in the semi-final Luton. Nicol. Beardsley won't keep it in. Just a little bit of cloud cover now, and I noticed that there's a little bit of breeze showing on 1 or 2 of the flags around the stadium. Maybe it's just cooled off just a fraction out there. Good strong running by Fashanu, but a goal kick to Liverpool. So you can see there is a little bit of breeze, at least at that height. But whether that's applying Ian down on the pitch is another matter, I suppose.
I'm just looking at the corner flags and they're limp, so I don't think the wind ever gets down onto the pitch.
A delightful ball for Nicol. Getting support from Spackman. Jones versus Houghton. The ball beats them both. Wimbledon's goal kick. Fashanu winning it above McMahon in the air. Alan Cork beaten in the end by Gillespie. Barnes prodding it through for Aldridge, who's fouled by Sanchez. Maurice Sanchez, Northern Ireland international. He had a really nasty touch of flu earlier in the week. In fact, there's been a little bit of flu in the Wimbledon camp. Eric Young was complaining to me yesterday about it, and Dennis Wise also said that he got a really nasty sore throat. The last thing you want in cup final week. Beardsley, that's Bessence. Vinnie Jones to Andy Thorne. There's another massive Besant kick. That time Fashanu didn't get on the end of it. Good year. This cross coming in towards Alan Cork, but Nicol had read that well for Liverpool. Jones versus McMahon. Ablett versus Wise. Liverpool coming away with it, finding Houghton. Beardsley's got his head down and is after this one again. Young is there with him. Still 0-0. Into the side netting. So, half an hour gone. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 0. Bobby Gould saying yesterday, we're great party spoilers. Well, Liverpool just haven't got going as yet. They've been frustrated by the vigour of Wimbledon's play. Sanchez header finding Dennis Wise. In turn, he can't find Fashanu. Jones trying to get it forward. Fashanu had strayed offside and hadn't got back on. Houghton. I think Houghton in the midfield looks to be a key man for Liverpool at the moment. A terrific little player. Scored, of course, here, didn't he, when he played for Oxford against Queen's Park Rangers in the Littlewoods Cup a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, he's a very good little player, and I do think between him and Beardsley, they look the liveliest of the Liverpool players this afternoon.
Cork winning it in the air, but Barnes finding Ablett. McMahon. Nicol. Quickly inside. Here's Houghton again. Barnes. Nicol. Spackman. It might be a little too hard. Nigel Spackman. Never scored for Liverpool since his arrival from Chelsea in the middle of last season. Sanchez to Cork. Now Wise on the far side, an amazing amount of space allowed for him to cross it back in once more, and Fashanu just wide. Well, the amount of space the Liverpool defence allowed Wimbledon on that far side and little Dennis Wise was so unlike Liverpool. And Fashanu nearly punished them for it. There's Wise's cross coming in, and there's Fashanu. Well, that was no more than 6 inches wide.
It's the first time Wimbledon have been in it for a little while, Brian. I feel they're being a little bit apprehensive. They could look to get forward a bit more. Fashanu seems to be playing a bit deeper than normal.
The voice of Dave Bassett, if you just joined us, former Wimbledon manager, now manager of Sheffield United. Hanson's header. Phelan beating Houghton, but jumping on the back of him as he did so, it'll be a free kick to Liverpool.
I mean, that was interesting. Fashion, who was challenging with McMahon in midfield, and Hansen heads it clear. I'd have thought he'd have been better up challenging Hansen.
Now that's a good free kick. And Beardsley's on his way, and has put Liverpool. Oh, there's an infringement there. The whistle had already gone for the free kick. Well, that won't be the most popular decision in Liverpool.
Well, certainly it's not a popular decision in this stadium, because surely he got clear. I know he was pulled back, but he got clear. He's gone through a 1-on-1 in the goalkeeper, and surely the referee had to play advantage there.
Well, the advantage was not played, and Wimbledon breathe again. Beardsley, perfection 1 against 1. But still 0-0. Now let's see what Barnes can do with this free kick. Plenty in the wall. Besant will want a view of it, might need a view of it. Barnes with a free kick, curling in amongst the photographers. Way, way wide of the goal. And the boos go up again for the referee. They wanted him to play an advantage there. He was too quick on the whistle. Disappointment on the Liverpool bench, and certainly amongst their fans. But sheer unadulterated relief for Wimbledon.
The ref must have blown immediately. It would have been better just to wait a second. As I said, I think Brian's a good referee. It's just one of those incidents that should have been punished.
Thorne gets it back. Sanchez. Phelan linking up. Just about the first time he's got as forward as that. And gets a free kick. The foul by Nicol on him. Nicol in turn claiming there was an elbow from Terry Phelan. But it'll be Dennis Wise who takes the free kick. Again, Young is right in there. Sanchez in there too. I don't have to tell you that Fashion is in there. Here's Wise with the free kick. And it's in there! Well, Sanchez has put Wimbledon ahead. Only his 5th goal of the season. And the underdogs remarkably have gone into the lead. You saw the header there, and there's the ball in the back of the Liverpool net.
It wasn't even a particularly high ball, Brian, you know, but he got in front of the Liverpool defenders to score. But that's the thing that people from Liverpool have felt, you know, all week. They said that we could lose a goal from free kicks or corner kicks, and that's happened.
Well, and that came a matter of 3 minutes or so after a controversy at the other end when Liverpool felt that they should have had a goal allowed. But the scoreboard gleaming at the moment. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 1. Fashion down injured. What about a word from the former Wimbledon manager, Dave Bassett, now? What about it, David?
Well, it shows how often in football, like one chance and then you go up the other end and score. But again, it showed that Liverpool's vulnerability on defending free kicks and corners. I mean, their marking was appalling in the box. And if you mark like that, you deserve to get punished.
What about Laurie Sanchez's scoring ability, though? And there's Bobby Gould. That's a tremendous breakthrough for his side, the Wimbledon manager.
Well, they'll be very relieved after escaping when they could have been 1 down. They're 1 up now. Yeah, Laurie gets into the box. There's people like Alan Cork, and as I say, you've got to do your homework on marking them up at free kicks.
Here we are again, David.
Yeah, it's a well-floated ball in on the goal. And Gary Ablett's just done there. He's on the wrong side of him.
And in the meantime, a free kick at the other end for Liverpool. Steve Nicol with it, and it's a deep one. Ablett on the far side. And in fact, it was the header by Fashanu that had to be saved by Besant. Gibson. Wise. Cork trying to get in there. Looking really lively at the moment, Wimbledon. Thorne beating Aldridge, taking on all comers, but McMahon then obstructing him, and it's a free kick to Wimbledon. Well, are we going to see one of the greatest turn-ups in FA Cup final history? A long, long way to go yet, but we're still 6 minutes to half-time. Throw on with the free kick. Cork's getting in there. It's Grobbelaar's ball. I think Liverpool have lost this season only to Everton and to Nottingham Forest. But they're down here. Beardsley. Stopped by Jones. McMahon. Barnes. Finding Nicol. Dink in there towards Aldridge. They claim the penalty. The referee spreads his arms wide. No penalty. 5 minutes of the first half left. Laurie Sanchez's goal after 36 minutes, giving Wimbledon the lead. And here comes Dave Besant again. Vinnie Jones. This is Grobbelaar's ball. Oh, and he's lost it to Gibson. Goal kick, no foul on the referee. Grobbelaar furious, but that's to no avail. He lost the ball, Gibson found it, and could so easily have found the net to make it 2.
I couldn't believe that Brucey coming all that way for the ball in the first place, but I don't think that Gibson fouled him at all. I think he just played the ball against Gibson as he was running in. Liverpool are all over the place at the moment.
Phelan. Back to Besant. 4 minutes of the first half left. Spackman. Ablett. Barnes. Hansen. Gillespie. Now there are a few red shirts up there. Houghton amongst them. A ball from Gillespie for Houghton. Played across the face of the goal and into the arms of Besant from the boots of Young. Aldrich steaming in there. And Liverpool almost creating the equaliser there. A lovely ball by Gillespie. Played in first time off the defender Eric Young, but into Besant's arms. Cork now at the other end, trying to get the ball inside the full-back for Wise. Goal kick. Wise to Ablett. Spackman going forward. Barnes. That's a free kick. A foul by Sanchez. 2 minutes of the first half left. Liverpool seeking that equaliser before the break. Barnes and Ablett on the free kick. Gillespie up from the back. But it was Thorne's header, helped on by Sanchez, helped on by Little Gibson, and Ablett backpedaling for Liverpool. Hansen. Nicol. Right across the face of that goal. There were a few flying boots at it, but it came off Goodyear in the end for another Liverpool throw, pushing Wimbledon back. With a minute to go to half-time, everybody except Grobbelaar well inside the Wimbledon half. McMahon, Hansen, played for Houghton, and Hansen coming through against the legs of Besant. Only scored one goal this season, Alan Hansen, but that could have been a most timely number 2. Eventually coming off the legs of the big Wimbledon goalkeeper. That'll be a goal kick.
Well, Liverpool haven't had as much of the players they would normally have, I don't think, Brian, but they've still created one or two, goal-scoring situations. That one there by Alan Hansen was just another. But they don't appear to be getting the run of the ball today. Sometimes it happens for you. The ball hits the goalkeeper when on a good day it slips under his body, and it doesn't seem to be happening for Liverpool. And it's up to Wimbledon now to take advantage of that.
Sanchez, Gibson's after it. Injury time at the end of the first half. Nothing much going Liverpool's way. They had what they thought was a goal. Well, I mean, it wasn't disallowed because the whistle had gone instead of an advantage being played. Within minutes of that, they're a goal behind. Then they feel they should have had a penalty. Then they hit the ball against the goalkeeper's leg. And now they've got a throw given against them when they should have thought it was theirs. But you have to live with these things. And there goes the half-time whistle. And in many ways, a remarkable first half, because the 4-1 outsiders are leading by 1-0. The goal scorer, Laurie Sanchez, after 36 minutes, noticeable too that Ray Houghton, I think, wanted to have a word with the referee. Bruce Grobbelaar spotted that very quickly and got in between Houghton and the officials. So there's no point in arguing with the referees. All you've got to do now, Liverpool, is to get to that dressing room and sort a few things out. And all Wimbledon will want to do is to get there and assess that first half and make sure they have more of the same in the second. Half-time score then here at Wembley. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 1. Thank you, Elton. Well, the managerial skills of Kenny Dalglish, everything has gone so brilliantly for them over the last 2 or 3 years, have been put to the test in the last 10 minutes. Brian Hill, figure of some controversy in that first half when Peter Beardsley was pulled back. He said at half-time, incidentally, that he realised that he was wrong, but that's one of those things he had already blown. Massive kick by Dave Besant, with football romance in the air once more, with the underdogs leading by 1-0 here at Wembley. And it's been of late a great place for underdogs, remember. Coventry weren't given that much of a chance last year against Spurs, and they won it. And Luton Town, of course, against Arsenal. To say nothing of Little Reading coming here and beating Luton in the Simod Cup earlier this year 4-1. It's been a funny old year or two for Wembley Cup finals. And who knows, little Wimbledon might be writing another chapter this afternoon. Larry Sanchez. Cork on the far side. Great old warrior he's been. Playing in all 4 divisions of the Football League, Alan Cork, but losing out now as Steve Nicol tries to get it away. And that was a long ball played back by Sanchez, and Young using, it seemed to me, an elbow on Beardsley to get the advantage on the England international, but he got it back to Dave Besant. And Phelan just getting it back to Besant as well, as Liverpool look as though they're trying to turn the wick up a little bit, speed up the game and their own desire and enthusiasm with it. But there was a foul on the Wimbledon goalkeeper, Ian St John.
Well, if I was feeling a keep away from Besant at the moment, he's very angry with him, isn't he?
Phelan a long ball forward, up goes Gillespie and beats Fashanu in the air. Comes to Alan Cork. Offside against Fashanu.
The interesting part in the first half, Brian, is that in free play, Liverpool, yes, they're doing well, but when it comes to defending free kicks and attacking free kicks, Wimbledon are far more organised.
Wise taking it up again for Wimbledon, playing down this right-hand side. Vinnie Jones finding Clive Goodyear. The cross coming in, it's Gillespie's ball. But here's Sanchez. Trying to get Cork away on that far side. Good heading ability. Jones might get there first against Hansen, but Hansen just nicked it away. And now Hansen for Liverpool. He's got Beardsley and Aldridge ahead of him. Houghton very lively too. Beardsley. Getting it to Barnes. You can probably hear a lot of shouting on the pitch. A lot of anxious players out there. Barnes stopped in the end by Phelan at the expense of a corner to Liverpool.
Barnes popping up on the right wing, Brian, there, and possibly at half-time they said to him he's got to come more into the game because he's been shut out of it on that left-hand side.
Gillespie's up there, Beardsley's in there, Houghton's in there. It was Thorne who quietly is having quite a substantial game at the back there for Wimbledon. A foul on Wise. Cheerful little character who got a free transfer from Southampton. Andy Thorne has had a good game at the back alongside Eric Young. Another long Besant kick, aimed once more and finding Fashanu. And Fashanu again, this time for Wise. Cork's on the far side. Nicol had to get that header in. Fashanu played for Phelan. McMahon. Houghton. Busy stride of his, the languid stride of John Barnes. Beardsley. Nicol. Beardsley again. Cork. Phelan the fullback. Gillespie there with it. Losing touch. It's a throw. No, it's not. The ball stayed in. McMahon. Challenged by Gibson. The referee spotted it. The game went on. Barnes. McMahon. Houghton. Looks to be a little more purpose about Liverpool, even though they've lost out there to Alan Cork. Vinnie Jones, a long, aimless ball, that one. And Bruce Grobbelaar outside his penalty area. Spackman. Barnes. A lot of space here for Ablett. You fancy there'll be a lot of defending for Wimbledon to do in this second half to hold on to this precious one-goal lead. Here's Houghton. Ablett. Nicol. Long-range shot, straight at the keeper. Dave Bassett, the former Wimbledon manager, you were telling me at half-time that Liverpool have always been a little nervous of Wimbledon.
Yeah, all the games I've always felt that they've never really relished playing Wimbledon, and they certainly don't seem to play their normal style. But having said that, you know, Wimbledon compete for every ball, and I think in some games that Liverpool playing, they don't have that every week. I think it may be talent-wise the Liverpool side the best, but I don't think it's necessarily the best at hustling and pressurising Liverpool teams.
Well, it's certainly not as strong as other teams of the past who could, if it comes to a battle, Dave, go out and win the battle, you know. And I think that's, you're right enough, I think the Wimbledon boys are battling away and probably just getting more of the game because of it.
Thorne with the free kick. Ablett got the header in. Vinnie Jones got one in as well. Nicol. And then McMahon.
Just the Wimbledon boys seem to be picking up a lot more loose balls than the Liverpool players as well. They look like they're looking for interceptions and that type of thing. Kenny Dalglish and the backroom staff off the bench there as Sanchez just kicked that ball away to waste a little bit of time. Now as Aldridge got in behind them, there was no foul by Phelan. Aldridge kept possession and now has got Beardsley.
And in the end, no nonsense, no frills there from Clive Goodyear, but he hasn't got the ball out of play. Aldridge playing it now for Nicol, played in there to the feet of Besant. Good influence. You always fancy Dave Besant is on the whole side around him. I think that they bought him for something like £1,000 from Edgware Town.
That's
in
right.
These days of enormous transfers, what an investment that is. Did you buy him, David?
No, when Dario was manager, we bought him. It was at that particular time. Brian Hall, the Yeovil manager, actually found him for us.
Well, there are two Liverpool substitutes warming up. Craig Johnston and Jan Molby. With 7.5 minutes of the second half gone, Wimbledon leading by 1-0. John Barnes for Liverpool in the red strip. Fashanu getting the better of Spackman. Vinnie Jones may not have the pace, hasn't got the pace. Ablett. Beardsley working hard, but a little dummy actually. Sold on in there by Eric Young. And here's Dave Besant again. He's a smashing character. And the ball going straight to Wise, but that should be Grobbelaars. There's another character for you. His throw out finding Houghton. Barnes. Thorne. No foul, no handball. I think Liverpool thought there was a handball there by Andy Thorne. Houghton getting it back from Nicol. Still Liverpool playing it around, seeking a way through this very impressive wall of Wimbledon blue to search out that equaliser. Barnes away on the left here. It's with Ablett at the moment though. And then inside again to McMahon. Nicol. The team still separated by Laurie Sanchez's goal after 36 minutes, but here's Beardsley. Stopped again by Thorne. Good passing here by Liverpool, a lot of skill, but again getting no profit from it as the ball comes off big Alan Cork. Beardsley, the back heel, comes off Spackman, and there's Alan Cork again. But into touch it goes.
For all Liverpool's possession there, Brian, they're not really getting round the back or behind Wimbledon at all. They're playing in front of them, which will suit them.
Beardsley. Stopped again by Thorne. I've been really impressed by his performance today. Ian St John.
That's had an excellent game. Peter Beardsley is trying to wriggle his way through, and at times, you know, possibly there are other players here around him that he may try a 1-2 with, but he's trying to do too much, I think, solo.
There's
Big Thorne has
Yeah.
got him in his back pocket at the moment.
Only 21. You picked him up, did you, David?
Yeah, we had him as a schoolboy. In actual fact, we ummed and ahed whether we took him, and we took him on a YTS at the time when there was apprentices, and he's matured. He's done very well. He's a very intelligent player.
Well, Houghton getting behind them, and a good piece of work again by Besant, and the substitution will shortly be made. They're going to bring on Laurie Cunningham, and I think it might be Alan Cork who comes off. Laurie Cunningham. Substitution is now going to be made. Alan Cork, great old warrior, now in his testimonial year. He's got a testimonial on Monday, in fact, at Plough Lane. If Wimbledon can win this today, my goodness, it'll be an all-ticket occasion, that one.
Yeah, it'll be a great occasion for him. Thoroughly deserves it.
Playing a John Hollins London 11 at Plough Lane on Monday. Laurie Cunningham now, 32 years old and a lot of experience, stretching from West Bromwich Albion and Manchester United and Real Madrid. Getting his first touch now. Not a particularly successful one, but he's got support from Phelan. Gillespie. McMahon. Got the better of Vinnie Jones there, but not the better of Sanchez. Gibson trying to feed it through for Fashanu. Thorne again. Cunningham.
So the thing at the game at the moment, Brian, Liverpool are stringing passes together and are beginning to look a bit more cohesive this second half. Where Wimbledon, I mean, I can't remember them playing 3 passes, David. Really, you know, they're just getting it and knocking it away.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing as if there's only 10 minutes to go. Vinnie Jones had a long, hopeful ball just a few seconds ago. They've got to try and get hold of the ball more now, because otherwise you're looking to last too long.
Well, it's Liverpool in possession again with McMahon. And now it's with Barnes. And McMahon again. And here's Ablett. Blue shirts are back again in numbers. Barnes. Ablett. It's McMahon. Nichols made a little break down the right. It's Spackman now, though. Houghton being pressed by Young. Alan Cork, who's just been substituted. Laurie Cunningham's on for him. John Barnes, a long, deep cross. Too deep for anybody in a red shirt. Laurie Cunningham picks it up now for Wimbledon. Well, the linesman had his flag up, I think, for an infringement, not that the ball was out of play, and then put it down again.
Well, that's debatable, Brian. I mean, was it an infringement? It looked to me as if from here everybody thought the ball had just run over the line. The linesman put his flag up, and the referee said play on.
And play on they did, and it's a throw for Wimbledon. Phelan's throw, Fashanu's header. The linesman's flag, and a free kick to Liverpool. Good picture, which shows a good spirit. Gillespie and Terry Gibson. Gary Gillespie at 6'2", and Terry Gibson, the smallest man on the field, at 5'5". Well, straight to little Dennis Wise. Trying to get Fashanu away. Jones. Let's hit towards Grobbelaar. Beardsley. Spackman's gone forward from midfield. Barnes, who as yet has not really asserted himself. 15 minutes of the second half gone. Wimbledon still leading by a goal to nil.
Well, I think Liverpool should make a substitution, Brian, because it's not happening for them at all, especially up front. And I think Kenny will need to think about shaking the pack up a bit.
I think Craig Johnson's shortly to come on, but it's with Aldridge at the moment. That's a penalty. The foul by Goodyear on Aldridge. And Wimbledon hounding the referee. I must say the first look I had it looked the penalty. And here's Aldridge coming through. Goodyear after him.
Well, I don't think that was a penalty kick at all. I thought it was a very good tackle. I had been saying to Dave, funnily enough, at half-time, if Liverpool could get the ball in and around the box, they may even get a penalty kick. But to get it that way, when really that wasn't a foul. Very, very harsh.
Goodyear came in, played the ball. I must say, the second look at it, it looks a really tough decision. But what it does, it gives Aldridge, who scored 11 times from the penalty spot this season in his 29, the chance to bring Liverpool level. Saved brilliantly by Besant. Amazing. There's only ever been one penalty missed in FA Cup final history, and you have to go back to 1913 for that. And now in 1988, there's another one. What an astonishing moment that is. And maybe it really is going Wimbledon's way. An inspired piece of keeping by Dave Besant, the man who cost £1,000 from Edgware Town. And who knows, it might well win the cup for Wimbledon.
I was just thinking, you know, that Kenny Dalglish had kept Aldridge on for the moment, and he's never missed penalty. I don't think he's ever missed a penalty kick.
Don't recall it.
And so when that happened, I thought, oh, the luck's maybe changing, but tremendous save by big Dave Besson.
Barnes. McMahon's after it. Besant taking no chances right outside the box. This is turning into quite a dramatic afternoon now. But Liverpool are still at Wimbledon's throat. But it's still Wimbledon leading by a goal to nil, and it's a free kick for Liverpool.
He's got a good record of saving penalties, Besant, over the years, Brian. He does well.
Well, never better than a moment ago.
No, when you need one like that, that's the day to pull it out.
Well, here's Ablett for Liverpool. Barnes stopped by Wise. That's a foul. That's a free kick given against Ablett. Yeah, you have to go back to 1913, believe it or not, for the last penalty miss in an FA Cup final. A gentleman called Charlie Wallace, playing for Aston Villa against Sunderland.
How did he miss that one, Brian?
And two substitutes are now being made. Craig Johnston is coming on for Liverpool with John Aldridge. Poor John Aldridge. He's had a brilliant season coming in for Ian Rush. 29 goals in it, and done all that Liverpool asked, except that he missed a penalty, and now has no chance to redeem himself. And Scales is coming on, and he's on in place of little Terry Gibson. Remembering also, of course, we had a missed penalty in the Littlewoods Cup final. Nigel Winterburn for Arsenal against Luton. Another free kick to Liverpool. The hero of the moment, the Wimbledon captain, Dave Besant. No time at the moment to rest on any laurels, because Liverpool are coming for them again with this free kick from Steve Nicol. Floated towards Hansen, but he's back in the right place again. Eric Young. Just over 25 minutes of this 1988 Cup final to go.
It's interesting, Liverpool had kept the two men with the headbands back in the centre circle there, Spackman and Gillespie, so obviously they didn't fancy heading the ball.
And here's Barnes. And overhead, and again Dave Besant is there. Really was a terrific penalty save, you know, wasn't it?
Superb. I mean, he's such a big fella that when he falls sideways, you know, he's covered half the goal.
Gillespie, Spackman. Jan Molby now warming up for Liverpool. Sanchez to Wise. Trying to get Scales. And Besant whacking it into touch. Dave Bassett, just tell me, with Scales now playing up front, he's normally a fullback, isn't he?
That's right, he's a fullback. I mean, there must be something wrong with Terry from his injury the other night at Manchester United, which means that they've just got to put him there.
Good challenge, an important one there, played back, and Besant just getting there before Houghton. I think it was Vinnie Jones who played that one back, but there was certainly no margin for error there. Laurie Cunningham.
They may have weathered the storm for a few moments, Wimbledon, and they've got to try and keep the ball a bit more now.
I wouldn't bank on it, Dave. Gillespie. Bobby Gould's been saying all week he's got a side here that never knows when it's beaten, but the same could certainly apply for Liverpool.
Oh, yes.
Nicol then with the throw for Liverpool. But certainly at this stage, Ian St John, you would say this is one of the least effective performances that Liverpool have put up all season.
I'm disappointed looking at them today, because I know how well they've played this year, and this is well below par for Liverpool.
But all credit to Wimbledon, leading by 1-0, coming up to the halfway mark in the second half. There you can see it, coming up to 22.5 minutes. Loris Sanchez, the scorer, after 36. The rank outsiders are leading at Wembley. But can they keep that lead against what most people now regard as the most powerful side in Europe? Gillespie. Hansen. Barnes. Nicol. Beardsley, challenged unfairly by Thorne. And the free kick already taken. McMahon. And again McMahon. Ablitz. Oh, some space here now. But Houghton could not play it back into the path of Barnes. But you get the impression that Liverpool are beginning to open up one or two gaps now. Ablitz. Played for Barnes. Vinnie Jones shakes off the challenge of Barnes. Is challenged by Ablitz. Liverpool gain possession again and keep that ball in the Wimbledon half. McMahon. Wimbledon have pulled everybody, even John Fashanu back now. Craig Johnston the substitute. Stopped by a combination of Jones and Wise. And here comes big John Fashanu. Socks down. The old legs will be feeling the strain now, and the lungs as well. And the sun is out gloriously now, once again, with a temperature you can be sure down there into the 80s. Nicol. Gillespie. Barnes. Beardsley. Barnes again.
We were just saying, Dave and I, that John Barnes hasn't lit the stadium up the way everybody thought he would. I mean, I certainly felt that he would be the man of the match, pre-match, because he's got so much talent. But I think the way that Wimbledon have played today and closed them down on that side of the field, it's worked ever so well, and they've just shot him right out of the match.
Foul on Scales by Nicol. A free kick to Wimbledon. They won't hurry taking it. They're looking for a breather, looking to take a few seconds off the burden that remains. 20 minutes are left. Vinnie Jones. It'll come for Ablitz. Eric Young was up there and he needs to get back. Suddenly Liverpool in full flight. John Barnes across that goal, and nobody in a red shirt to deliver the final touch.
Liverpool had so many red jerseys in midfield there when John Barnes made the break. Nobody getting up there to support in the box. A good run by Barnes. He got that space because little Wise had gone off to the other side of the field. But in the main, he's been blocked out. But you'll see here when he takes the defenders on, this is what we thought he'd be doing all afternoon. Threw the ball in there. And as you can see, that there's only 2 red jerseys there.
There'll be another red jersey coming on very shortly because Jan Molby is now stripped off. see him down the tunnel there. Yes, he's coming on, and Nigel Smackman is coming off. So one midfielder goes, and a very talented Danish international, Jan Molby, comes on. Tablets. Wise again, ball out of play.
He's done extremely well, Dennis Wise, today. He's blocked Barnes out most of the game.
Now Craig Johnston. Yeah, I think at this stage, if you were choosing a man of the match, Ian St John, which I know has been your task once or twice, it might be a little bit difficult.
Well, I think Dave Besson would be the man of the match for me. That's if the score stays at 1-0. I mean, if somebody gets a hat-trick in the next 10 minutes for Liverpool, I might give it to them.
Hansen. Barnes. Oh, a lovely ball by Barnes, and it was, well, it wasn't luck for Wimbledon, because that was what the big centre-back Eric Young meant, but that little touch on his head just took it beyond the on-running Liverpool player and on for Dave Besant. Interesting to know who faces the more exhausting last quarter of an hour, actually. Wimbledon, because of the way they play, or Liverpool, because really they've got to the point now, Ian, where they're chasing the game a bit.
I'd like to be in Wimbledon's shoes, hanging on to a goal, rather than trying to get two to win it.
It's with Wise for Wimbledon. Minutes are ticking away.
Oh.
And there's a good header by Fashanu. The first real jump we've seen from the big man with a head-on goal. Former Bernardo boy, who's done so many good things for Wimbledon since he arrived from Millwall. And again, it's Wise, Don Howe, saying that about 75% of Wimbledon's goals come from that little man in one way or another. Now he's got to get back, because Barnes has taken this pass from McMahon. There's a deep cross towards Craig Johnston on the far side, too high for him. It looked like a handball there by Houghton, and indeed it was. And it's a free kick to Wimbledon. Consternation on the face of Kenny Dalglish, and Don Howe in the centre of the picture there. He and Bobby Gould have done such a job here. And in Scotland, it's Celtic 1, Dundee United 1, the latest score. McAvenny and Gallagher the scorers. Here it's 1-0 to the underdogs Wimbledon, and an offside against Craig Johnston. To the annoyance of Peter Beardsley, who'd taken up a good position and was prepared to put his head down and run after that. And Beardsley is giving Craig Johnston some stick. For goodness sake, use your head, he was saying, kept touching his head. And there's plenty of shouting going on from the Liverpool bench. The first feeling of anxiety, I would have thought, beginning now to make its presence felt on that bench. Here's Dave Besant. Crowd love that.
And like the Liverpool players do when he comes out.
No. Hansen, just look at the hustling that's going on there with Fashanu. He's such a fit young man, but conceding the free kick there. Fashanu, 25 years old. Now Beardsley. Johnston. Molby. That's a delightful ball. Houghton, that busy stride of his. Flick to the outside to Beardsley. A little chip by him. He tried to get it back to Houghton. Laurie Cunningham's header getting it away. McMahon taking it forward again for Liverpool. And McMahon prepared to go all the way. And in the end, Goodyear had to take it into his own hands. Besant came out, and I'm not sure that Besant would have got there. And certainly Goodyear couldn't risk a back pass in those circumstances. But it's a corner for Liverpool with 14 minutes of the game left. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 1. Here's Jan Molby. Crossed in, and Fashanu back there. A Liverpool throw, turning the screws just that little bit tighter, Liverpool now. Molby once more. Can Wimbledon hold on to this fantastic one-goal lead? Craig Johnston going round. And still going round, and in the end, put behind by Thorne. What a week for Craig Johnston, having let that bombshell go in the week to say that he was packing up football and going back to live in Australia. But Kenny Dalglish is stuck with him on the substitutes bench. There's the corner, fisted, not very far. And, well, Besant didn't get much of a punch on it, but he kept his feet and grabbed it. And standing 6'4" as he does, he's always got a fair chance of getting it before he can get to anybody else. Well, for a former Wimbledon manager, nervy moments these, Dave Bassett?
Well, they seem to be coping quite well.
No, I meant for you.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, naturally.
Sanchez. Vinnie Jones. Oh, goodness, they've battled well, Wimbledon. And now they need to battle for only about another 13 minutes to bring off one of the shock results in FA Cup final history. And yet you say that, Wimbledon in fact finished 7th in the first division, so by no manner of means are they mugs. It is just that I think Liverpool have been so supreme for so long this season that everybody, or so many people, felt that it was a foregone conclusion. But it's not, and Wimbledon still leading 1-0. Throw given Liverpool's way. Barnes trying to get Beardsley away. Young is right back there with him. Beardsley might take a bit of stopping. He's looked for Molby, but Scales just got in there first for Wimbledon. Hansen. Molby. Beardsley. Stopped by Fashanu. And those long legs. Got it away. Fashanu's down. Whether he's hurt himself, I don't know. But Wimbledon have got both their subs on. Little Wise getting it into touch, and Fashanu is still down. Scored in 4 of the 5 rounds of the FA Cup, so he's had a big influence on Wimbledon getting here, as big Fashanu. Now Ablett. Crosses there. Barnes just couldn't readjust himself sufficiently to get a shot or a header on target. Ian?
Well, I think Liverpool now are looking for something out of the ordinary, because it looks to me as if it's going to be one of those days. You know, they've had enough of the ball in certain areas of the field without really playing as well as they can do, but still had chances, but they've never had the run of the ball in the box, and haven't really tested Big Dave apart from the penalty kick.
11 minutes left. Nicol. Here come Liverpool again. Thorne, good defending again by him, up towards Fashanu. It was Gillespie who won it in the air though. Nicol, challenged though by Sanchez and beaten by him, and suddenly Wimbledon on the break here. The ball, a short one here for Fashanu. Cunningham, feeling outside him, Laurie Cunningham. They're looking for a little bit of magic maybe from him, but the cross comes in, it's headed away quite comfortably by Gillespie. Sanchez, who's covered a lot of ground, to Vinnie Jones, played wide for little Dennis Wise. Can he take on Ablett and beat him? He's having a go. Has he got a corner? Yes, he has. Corner for Wimbledon. 10 minutes left. Little Wise, only 21 years old, 5'6", scored the winner in the semi-final against Luton. Now with this corner for Wimbledon. Fashanu and Young are both in there. Scales is in there too. Young with the shot, and Grobbelaar grabbing it out of the air.
Again, it shows, Brian, how difficult where Liverpool struggle on defending corners.
Indeed. And Young's shot eventually held by the Liverpool keeper. 9 minutes left. I get the feeling it's so nip and tuck now that I will, if I can, count off minute by minute to you as we get towards the crescendo. Craig Johnston on the far side. Here come Liverpool again. Out of play. It's a Wimbledon throw. Ball, says Kenny Dalglish, but linesman is indeed agreeing it is a Liverpool ball. Eight minutes left, Fashanu back. Now it's a Wimbledon ball. Eight minutes that will seem like a lifetime to Bobby Gould and all the Wimbledon players and their fans. The average crowd is only 8,300. Cunningham. Back heel, giving Fashanu some space. Mulvey. A foul on Jan Mulvey by Laurie Sanchez. And a free kick to Liverpool. Building something from deep in the shape of their skipper Alan Hansen. Everybody predicted that he would be the first captain to go up the steps. Here he is, the number 6, to receive the cup and the double, as it were, for the second time. It's never been done before. But Wimbledon have got some work to do in the last 7 minutes now, if that's going to happen. Here's Craig Johnston. Barnes playing it on for Johnston. The cross comes in comfortably again for Besant. And it remains one of those afternoons for Liverpool. Scales trying to get in. Nicol. Hansen. Now 6 minutes left on the clock. Mulvey. Barnes. Mulvey. Fashanu trying to get up enough steam to hold the Liverpool substitute, and in the end almost manages it. Everybody trying to get a tackle in. It comes to Scales, and now to Vinnie Jones, and now for Phelan, with Cunningham outside him. Cunningham has dropped back. Mustn't push too many forward, but now Cunningham has taken that ball from Phelan, and a good one it was. Beardsley stops him, and Liverpool now look to build something again from their own half. Again it's Jan Mulvey. Coming up now to 5 minutes of the game left. A good challenge that time by Fashanu. Vinnie Jones finding Laurie Cunningham. It comes for Beardsley. Now, is this going to be the lucky break for Liverpool? No, it's not, because Barnes goes flying. And Phelan gets it back to the Wimbledon hero, Dave Besant. Now, is he going to be the first ever goalkeeper captain to go up and receive the FA Cup? Well, in a little over 4.5 minutes, we shall know. Gillespie, again a header not hit with the forehead, but with the top of the head. Phelan underneath this one. Phelan going on, stopped by Gillespie, needs to get back, and the Wimbledon bench furious with that, because that's an unnecessary risk that Phelan had taken. Goodyear thought about the back pass, thought against it, and whacks it forward again towards the substitute John Scales. Turned inside, but a foul by him. Fashanu hits the ball well wide. 4 minutes of this 1988 FA Cup final left, and Wimbledon just 4 minutes away from a most remarkable victory. A victory that a lot of critics were saying, well, they were saying if it's going to be for the good of British football, it's got to be Liverpool. But you try and tell that to anybody who comes from southwest London right now. And besides, you win a cup final if you're good enough to win it.
I think that's the point, Brian. I mean, I certainly thought that Liverpool would win this handsomely. And, of course, they don't look as if they're going to do that. But you've got to hand it to Wimbledon.
By Craig Johnston. No foul.
See, Wimbledon have won all the challenges, all the tackles. all the headers. They've looked a more positive team without playing really an ounce of football, because I don't think they've strung half a dozen passes together all afternoon. But having said that, the part of the game that they're good at, they have done exceptionally well.
Let me keep you up to date with the time. Just 3 minutes left now. Fashanu puts it into touch. Liverpool now look to retrieve something. Grobbelaar with a mighty kick forward. Phelan, well, he's kept it in, but probably Craig Johnston's for his benefit. They've planted Gary Gillespie up there as a last desperate measure. Now Fashanu is in the clear. Well, at least he's got Scales up there alongside him, and he's got Wise here as well. Barnes trying to come back to get a possession for Liverpool. Goodyear. Now, no time to waste it. Forward it goes from Bruce Grobbelaar again. He finds Beardsley, and now McMahon. Oh! A nasty old challenge there between McMahon and Vinnie Jones, but there's no time to debate it. The free kick's been given, it's been taken, and it's with Houghton. Lining up the shot, deflected away. Barnes now turning it in once more, and Eric Young, the hero for Wimbledon, with 90 seconds of the game remaining. Liverpool 0, Wimbledon 1. Jan Molby with a long throw and a good throw, and a header that's just over, and only just, from Stevie Nicol. They won't hurry to take the goal kick. Dave Besant. Now what about Dave Bassett? What do you feel about it now, David?
Well, it's a great moment for them, really. They've battled and they've fought hard. I think they wanted to win the cup more than Liverpool did.
Well, there's 1 minute remaining on this FA Cup final. And for once, the Liverpool crowd, and they are massed right around this stadium. Remember, Wimbledon's gates are about 8,000. The Liverpool fans are fairly muted. But again, Grobbelaar launches that long one. Gillespie finds Beardsley. In turn, he finds Barnes. The little chip comes in, but it comes off Goodyear. And again, they get it away, but it's given offside. The Wimbledon fans thought that was the final whistle, but it's not. On my watch, there's still 20 seconds to go. Barnes plays it in. Vinnie Jones gets it away, but it'll be a throw which Molby will want to take, and we've already seen that he can throw a good long ball in, so it's not over yet. Can Wimbledon hold these last few seconds together? There's little Phelan getting in there. Sanchez missed the kick. There is the final whistle. And Wimbledon, against all the odds, rank outsiders. The hero is Dave Besant, their captain, man who saved from the penalty spot. And the result they said could never happen, has happened. Football romance is in the air once more. And that old Wembley jinx, the underdogs, have come up with the goods. An astonishing result that few an hour and a half ago would have believed, and Liverpool players are sitting on the ground now, quite unable to believe what has happened. Kenny Dalglish comes on disconsolate. Dave Besant, who clearly is going to be a big candidate for the man of the match. That's when he's got the cup, as the first goalkeeper ever to go up to receive it. What an astonishing afternoon. As I say, some will say, as the two goalkeepers have a word, and Alan Hansen, the two skippers, have a word, and it may not have been the prettiest final that Wembley's ever seen, but in many ways it's been one of the most dramatic, not least when big Dave Besant saved that penalty from John Aldridge, when it looked as though Liverpool might well be in a situation to get back on. There's Don Howe embracing big John Fashanu. It's been teamwork right the way through for Wimbledon, and teamwork has triumphed over everything else in this glorious sunshine in this famous old stadium. What a party they're going to have. I tell you, they've got the biggest marquee in Wimbledon, and that even allows for the All England Tennis Club on the Wimbledon pitch right now. And they're going back there tonight, and that party might well go on for, well, a couple of 3 days, I would think, except they've got to play a testimonial on Monday night for Alan Court. Well, the yellow and blue ribbons have already been placed on the FA Cup. The long and the short of it, 6'4" Dave Besant, and tiny Dennis Wise, who never stopped running.
This must be a great moment for Dave Besant. He's had a brilliant game in captain.
Well, it's uncharted territory, as Wembley was starting at 3 o'clock for Wimbledon. And up the famous steps to receive the cup. That certainly is uncharted territory for them. A club that 11 years ago wasn't even in the Football League, that back in 1983 was back in the 4th division, that here in 1988 are about to take the biggest cup prize of all, the FA Cup. They really are the pathfinders for every little club in the land, with ambitions and with dreams. And today for Wimbledon, those dreams have come true. Dennis Wise, and big Dave Besant lifts the cup for Wimbledon, taking it from Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales. What a fantastic afternoon for the little club. Pictures that are being seen right around the world, and people will look and they'll say, well, I don't know how it could have happened.
It'll just be interesting to see the papers tomorrow. A few of them are going to have to eat their words, Brian.
I think a lot of them will have to eat their words.
I've just eaten mine. Actually, you know, people talk about experts in the papers and newspapers writing this, that and the other. But I think on form, David, you had to say that Liverpool would win the game because, I mean, they're the champions, they're a marvellous team. And but in a cup final, like in any game, things can go wrong. And for Liverpool today, everything went wrong.
That's right.
To miss a penalty as well, you know, it just was a final straw, wasn't it?
It may well be that Wimbledon's name was on the cup and you have to bit of luck at the right time. But having said that, I always fancied them to do well against Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool battle when they have to. I think when they're in control, they do. And a few of their players must be well disappointed with their performances today.
Well, they'll be disappointed as they come down the steps here with losers' medals. A team that has achieved so much and over the years has won so much, when everybody thought that, well, it wasn't a formality, but at least you would, if you were a betting man, put a big bet on them. Well, it's gone down, and Wimbledon have come up. John Aldridge at the back there, what a sad and sorrowful sight, really. But it was his missed penalty, and then he was substituted. John Barnes, who never really got into the game. Beardsley, who worked so hard, but really to no avail.
The thing is this, Brian, Liverpool have so many medals, they've been in a winning position so often, that I'm sure they don't begrudge Wimbledon their little day in the sun this afternoon.
Oh, and there might even be just something in what Dave's saying, that maybe Wimbledon wanted to win that little bit more.
Well, they certainly battled for it, and they certainly deserve it at the end of the day.
I think it also shows something for Wimbledon's professionalism, because they did their homework better on Liverpool than Liverpool did their homework on Wimbledon. They got Dennis Wise to do a particularly good job. They practiced their free kicks and corners at both ends of the park much better.
And there's Don Howe with Dave Besant. You can be sure of one thing. Don, I think, is working without a contract at Plough Lane at the moment, but they're talking to him, and they will talk very earnestly to him to make sure that they tie him up with Bobby Gould.
Oh, I'm sure they will. They want to keep Don. He's a good coach and a good man.
So the Wimbledon players begin to celebrate. The Liverpool players are just trudging round behind that goal. It's an unusual experience for them. They're faithful fans who, let's face it, are some of the greatest fans in the country, are loyal to them and giving them a great round of applause. But the fans will know, and Liverpool themselves will know, that by their own high standards this season, they really haven't done themselves justice here at Wembley today.
Just one point on that, Brian. I thought Kenny Dalglish, Roy Evans and Ronnie Moran were very good. They went up to all the Wimbledon players and congratulated them, even in their disappointment.
And it has been an afternoon played in a massively good spirit. There's Vinnie Jones in the middle there. People were predicting all sorts of battles going on in the midfield between he and Steve McMahon. There was one that I thought looked a pretty unpleasant tackle. Dave Bassett thought it wasn't as bad as that early on. But that apart, it's been played in the most glorious sporting spirit. And as I say, it'll give every little club in the land something to aim for when they think, well, Wimbledon, way back in 11 years ago in the Southern League, have done it. Bobby Gould organising the team photograph, and I think maybe trying to get a few people out of the way who shouldn't be in it, but Dave Besant just wants to get on with it. Manhandles his manager around the back, and in a way that somehow exemplifies the whole spirit there's been in the Wimbledon Football Club. I think it might be quite a party, don't you, Ian?
I don't think I'll be invited, but I'm sure it will be. It should be a cracker. And they deserve it, as we keep saying, it is marvellous for them. It gives hope to all the other clubs in the country. If Wimbledon can come here and win against Liverpool at Wembley, then surely next year, let's hope that the First Division Championship race is going to be a bit tighter, because I don't think enough teams played with the same spirit as Wimbledon in the league, and it allowed Liverpool to get that gap at the top and really killed the league off from Christmas, didn't it?
Well, Wimbledon certainly were never killed off here this afternoon. They started brightly, they competed well, they went ahead with that goal after 36 minutes with Loris Sanchez from the corner. And you wondered whether they might wilt, because Liverpool appeared to come out in a better frame of mind and more businesslike early in the second half. Then they had the penalty. And of course, a lot of Liverpool fans will look back before that Wimbledon goal and say, well, if the referee hadn't been quite as quick on the whistle and had played the advantage, we would have been ahead, and then the whole story might have been so different.
Well, they'll say that, of course they will, and maybe quite rightly, but at the end of the day, that's only for argument's sake. Liverpool didn't play well enough on the day, really, to justify it. And to get a penalty kick with a dodgy decision, I thought, and then miss it, well, you can't turn around and say we should have won the cup after doing that.
Laps of honour here at Wembley are taking longer and longer, because there are, what, 200 photographers there, I would think, who need to be satisfied. Just one more, please, just one more, this way, this way. You're going to say, Ian?
I'm going to say we might have to put the floodlights on by the time this one finishes. Alan Cork, lovely for Alan, isn't it? You know, to finish his career, as it were. I know he's not exactly finishing, but coming to the end of his career with a cup winner's medal. Well,
I saw him quoted in the paper this week, actually, where he said he's been there 10 years, Alan Cork, and he said, I haven't a thing to show for it. No medals, no trophies, except, he said, I've really enjoyed coming into work every day. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Well, he's got something to show for it now. He's got a cup winner's medal and what should be a fantastic testimonial on Monday. And I hope, incidentally, that Alan Hansen has a brilliant testimonial the same night up at Anfield against Bobby Robson's England 11.
I'm sure he will do.
That'd be good for both players.
So there we are. Thanks to Dave Bassett and to Ian St John. We're going to take a break now, and then we're going to talk, we hope, to one or two of the winners and one or two of the losers.
Alan Cork, you say you enjoy going to work every day for the last 10 years at Wimbledon. You must have enjoyed your day's work here.
I've had a right good day today. I got dragged off though, look, breathing out my backside. But look, Harry, if you can see this, Harry, look. Never thought I'd have one of these in my life, so look, away we go, look. Still shaking.
How do you stand back and try and analyse that performance, Alan?
I don't know, really. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and look at this again and think I've won a medal.
Right.
First time in life.
Right. Yeah, the goalkeeper's just come in and gone straight out. Clive Goodyear, before we talk to the skipper, what about the penalty? One or two protests from you?
Well, yeah, I thought I played the ball cleanly. Actually, the ball, he overran the ball and managed to get a toe in and toe it away from him. That's all I can remember. So I was a bit disappointed, but the big fella did brilliant.
Listen, I think you can see it here, and Dave will undoubtedly take a long view of it when he comes to save it. But it's coming up here, and just, I think our lads and everybody agreed it might have been a bit harsh.
Plays the ball. He's got the ball, doesn't he? Look,
He's got the ball. Disgrace, referee.
He said he'd make me a hero one day.
Yeah. That's the voice of Dave Besant, and David, I think we might well be seeing the penalty save now, which was reasonably important, wasn't it?
Yeah, not bad. I never saw this. Never saw it.
So then,
Should have caught it. Should have caught it. Not bad.
Did you just decide to go that way? Had you worked out to go before or what?
He's tended to put a lot that way, but the goalkeepers normally move, and I tried not to move, so maybe that put him off.
It's a lie,
isn't it? Yeah. It's a lie, yeah. I was going to put me out on it.
Listen, I've got just a small bottle here. It's the first of many, I think, tonight. You've been named man of the match by Jimmy Greaves. And a little, or a large and a full Jeroboam that won't stay full for very long.
Well done, Jimmy.
Listen, David, just, you know, all the boys are in here. It's moments after you've done it, but, you know, when you sit back on Monday and you make a decision about what's happened here, just spell it out for us what you think you've achieved.
We've took on the best in the country and we've beaten them. So it must be close to second best.
Stop them doing the double.
Yeah.
We've won a medal, lads.
Yeah.
And we've got the goal as well that I know you lads won't really want to see, but
Who scored the goal, by the way? Who scored the goal?
Laurie Sanchez.
Yeah! Good in there. Not bad, sense. The old spam. Roommate.
Did you? I mean, Alan, everybody wrote you boys off. They all wrote you boys off. Did any of you have any of those odds at 4-1?
Yeah, I did. I had 20 quid on us with the local bookmaker. We didn't give ourselves quid's in now, isn't he? Loads of money. Loads of money.
Let's bring John Fashanu up in here. Are you right? You didn't give yourself any hope at all? You're joking as usual.
Did, so we thought we'd, nobody gave us any hope. The critics, we get fed up reading about it every day in the paper, but it's nice. It's great for football. Yeah, as you said, Eric Young. Johnny Giles is watching, I'm sure. Yeah, Jeff Powell, they're all watching. They love us.
But I mean, when you read those papers this morning, was it just the final G-up that you needed, that everybody wrote you off?
Well, as Fleet Street says, I can't read and none of us can read, so we just looked at the pictures.
And you're all going to have a quiet night tonight, aren't you?
Of course, of course.
Going straight home.
Straight
home now. No drinking, nothing.
Okay, lads, thanks for joining us. Thanks a lot.
No testimonial on Monday.
Sorry,
yes, on Monday night, if you're still on here. 16th of May, everyone's down here for crying out loud.
Billy.
See the cup.
You said nobody would turn up if Wimbledon had lost.
Oh, we're going to get 25,000 now and everything.
Billy, how do you feel now, son? Hey? 1-0.